Okay, we shall start now. The recording only records me and not the chat. So if you have any questions regarding the students, international education, how to better prepare your student for the future that awaits them, feel free to ask in the chat. And we will also have after the meeting, we will have some time of the recording to just communicate and answer your questions. My name is Julia. I am the host and leader of Clever Online. This is an online school that follows Cambridge International Curriculum and prepares students for international universities for 10 years already in Novi Sad, Serbia. And this year, we expanded our online vector and started big scale online preparations. And I am personally working in education for the last 10 years. I have worked as a university lecturer, as the one who sits in the committees that consider applicants to the university. So I know the process from the inside. I also worked a lot with schools, public and local schools in many cities. And I worked as a personal tutor for students who prepare for universities. So within these 10 years, I have met thousands of parents who always have the same questions regarding their kids' future and education that can help them to achieve better results in future. And also the same concerns that usually parents have. And some of these concerns are relevant today more than ever, such as what will happen when ChatGPT disrupts the job market and when the knowledge becomes outdated. So some professions that students were teaching in the university and attending courses become outdated already with this rapid development of variable AIs, GPT models, and other AI agents that take a lot of tasks out of people. So this is, of course, one major reason that brings uncertainty to the life of future professionals and even current professionals. Then, of course, we also survived one big crisis, which was COVID. And this was not the last one. We see that there are a lot of conflicts in the contemporary world. There are a lot of things that usually are called black swans, like the crises that are not expected, that rapidly develop and that change thousands and hundreds of thousands of humans' life. So, what can bring a new crisis after we survived COVID? This is also a big question, and how to be prepared for the future crises that await every one of us. And last but not least, how to even live in the world where knowledge and skills constantly get outdated. So the thing is, we now can ask Google or ChatGPT for any answer and get it in seconds. So many of the things that I learned in school, and maybe you probably learned in school, already are irrelevant. And these are just some knowledge that is stuck somewhere in our heads and that loads our cognitive capacity. So, how to live in this world that is full of uncertainty and how to get opportunities from this uncertainty. This is the question that we covered when we started our Clever Online, because in Clever Online, we believe that uncertainty brings unlimited opportunities, and we wanted to develop our programs in a way that will help students to deal with the uncertainty, to look for opportunities, and to use them for the better. But again, what are the opportunities and what are the trends that we need to live with? And these are mostly related to professionals of the future, because every student after the university becomes basically a worker, the one who enters an industry, the one who gets to the workplace and starts to deal with real world challenges. So, what is required from professionals of the future, according to the world leading experts? Like World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report says to us that actually 75% of companies plan to adopt high tech, which is of course includes AI, but also cloud computing and big data until 20 and 27. So even before your child graduates from university, most probably all, like the majority of companies, will already use a lot of high tech that are sometimes not covered by university programs, at least not by all of them. But this is the skill set that is indeed very needed in today's world. Again, a lot of workplaces and jobs for sure will be robotized and will be substituted with the AIs. So what has less chances to be still kept by humans? These are related to core human cognitive skills such as reasoning and decision making, because AI for now can for sure simulate quite well the reasoning process, but AI still cannot think well enough and cannot make good decisions that humans can do. So reasoning and decision making, according to the experts, will be one of the least automated spheres in business processes, which means that those who make decisions for business, for the industry, for their own company, and those who can take the responsibility on the results of the decisions will be the most valuable in their company. And again, this leads us to the list of key skills for future, which are cognitive skills, such as creative thinking, analytical thinking, and other types of thinking, as well as soft skills, which are social influence, communication, leadership, teamwork, and so on and so forth. So key skills that actually make us human beings and differ us from the AI and machines. So if we sum up what we know from the experts and from the industry reports and try to implement it on our students that I, for example, teach or that grow in your family and now maybe are in their teenage where they need to choose the professional vector, choose who they want to be when they grow up, choose what skills to develop for their future. This actually leads us to a kind of portrait or skills portrait, let's say so, which looks like this, that professional of the future, first of all, is flexible. So flexibility and ability to adapt to uncertain contexts and to contexts that always change and always turn around, sometimes very dramatically. These professionals will be most valuable and will get more promotions, bonuses, and higher, again, like higher results in their company, which leads to higher profits. So flexibility is one of the core skills for the professional of the future, which actually is very much connected to the second skill that we call in Clever mindful learner, because we cannot be flexible without learning to how to do new things, how to operate with new tools, how to get things done differently from what we did before. So the one who knows how to learn, the one who knows how to sustain motivation to learning, and the one who actually loves the process of learning, because this is one of the secrets how to learn a lot and efficiently, this professional will always be better than those who are less learner centered, less flexible, and less like this process. So if any of teenagers with whom I work, sometimes they tell me like, oh, I do not like learning a lot. I do not like this process. I feel like it's useless, and so on and so forth. We usually have quite deep conversations with them where I try to make them understand that without the ability to learn, most probably they will always be a little bit on the side of the events, and they might perform better if they try to love learning instead of hating it or being bored. And actually, most part of them love learning. It is just the case that they did not experience a really good teacher or learning platform in their life. So, because the school curricula is still too outdated, lacks flexibility, and so on and so forth. So basically, we all usually love to learn. It is just the environment that demotivates us and makes us think that learning is a boring process, while it doesn't. So it usually helps to find a tool, a platform, or a teacher that gives inspiration, and things go much better. But of course, not only these two skills are the core, there should be something else. So the other two skills that we usually feel as basics for professional of the future and that we include in all of our courses are decision making, because again, the person who is decisive enough and who knows how to make decisions, who can base their decisions on data, facts, and again, divide facts from emotions and from personal opinions and so on and so forth. And moreover, who can take responsibility upon their decisions. These are in a great value, and there usually are not many of them. So the one who has this skill set may perform better than the others. And decision making also connected very much to a leadership, but not only leadership is important, but the team play. So the professionals of the future are those who can play as a team member, who are communicative enough, who have empathy, who understand that sometimes you need to, again, be flexible for the team and know the limitations of your flexibility, what you can do and what you can't do at any circumstances. So basically, these four are the basics that can be like all the other skills, like again, high tech, coding, IT, medicine, sports, any industry, hard skills can be built on these fundamentals and help with the particular sphere. But these four are needed in any sphere in the age of uncertainty that we live now, and actually have lived for quite a long time already. And when I talk to the parents and to the students, and when I show these idea and these fundamentals, I usually ask the question, which sounds like, okay, now we know, and how many of these meta skills are developed in an ordinary school in your neighborhood. And usually, unfortunately, they are not on the agenda because the curriculum, as I already mentioned, and I know quite many curriculums for quite many countries, they lack flexibility. They are still based on memorization, like at which date this conflict appeared or this milestone. You need to remember the dates, you need to remember the names of political leaders or social leaders or artists and other scientists and so on and so forth. So these curricula are still based on memorization, and in the era where Google can actually answer us in 5 seconds any question, that might be a little bit too much to remember. So curriculums are not flexible. Usually the curricula, especially in humanities, may rather demotivate learners from the subjects than motivate them. And it is actually usually seen with the literature curricula when students say, oh, I hate classics or I hate reading because they were forced to read quite a lot. And the selection of the readings were not adapted to the age or to the problems or to anything. And this results in students who say that they are bored to read or they do not like literature or any other opinions that we may hear when we work with students who start to prepare for university and we start to check what's going on with their life, what are they already capable of, what are their interests, and so on and so forth. So basically, unfortunately, in the majority of cases, local schools are rather demotivating and unteach students to do these meta skills and doing some other teachings instead. So what can be the alternative for that if we want to still develop these skills in an early age, like 11 plus or teenage, like 12, 13, 15, 16, where the basement should actually be done because afterwards it might be harder to develop this motivation to learning or this flexibility or this decision-making capacity. The older we get, the less the more difficult these fundamentals will take us to learn. So how to possibly solve this problem and what can be the addition? And of course, when we talk about alternatives, one of the ideas that comes to mind is international education. And we know several curriculum for international educations, Cambridge curricula, International Baccalaureate, which is for high school students. Cambridge is for students aged from 4 years old, so it covers the whole cycle. IB covers usually the higher school. Then Pearson and Excel also covers high school and last grades of the school, and so on and so forth. So for the example of international curriculum, we chose Cambridge curriculum and as an example of international education, because again, it covers the full cycle of education from the very early age. And it also is accepted by more than 5,000 universities around the world, which brings a lot of opportunities to the students. So it has its own strengths. And not only the university network, but also the curriculum itself provides stronger focus on subjects for a future career, which is good because, again, when I work with the students, what I hear a lot is that they need to attend subjects they are not interested in their local schools. and still they need the grade, and they actually, well, let's be honest, they waste their time learning things that might not be actually applicable for them in the future. So Cambridge curriculum helps to focus only on subjects that are relevant for the future career and to learn these subjects deeper than when people learn in the whole curricula school and cover all the subjects, because the amount of hours is divided between the subjects, and if there are more subjects it means less amount of hours is dedicated to particular one. So helping to focus only on subjects that are relevant helps to learn them in a deeper manner. And one more thing is that when we compare the curricula, we also noticed that Cambridge is better tailored to real world challenges, especially when we talk about the subjects that require some business skills like business studies, economics, entrepreneurship, and so on and so forth. So these skills can be useful for students in their life beyond the classroom and beyond the university, which is always a good thing, and which always also motivates learner to learn, because when we feel that things that we know and that we learn are applicable and more useful in real life and the problems that we have, we are more motivated to learn them. And last but not least, the advantage of Cambridge system is that private candidates can take the exam at any age. So all that is required is to choose Cambridge Center of Certification, apply as a private candidate, and choose the list of subjects that the student wants to sit on the exams. And again, there is no particular requirement of being of particular age to take these exams and get the certificates. So basically, it also means that if in one particular year the student prepared for the exam and the results were not that promising that they could do, they can retake the exam after several months or during the next year and get better results, which is also adds to flexibility of the system. But unfortunately, Cambridge system also has its own drawbacks. And first drawback is that actually it is really hard to enter, especially in high school, Cambridge curricula, because it requires good knowledge and master level of English, as well as it requires really a habit to learn in English language, habit to study in English, habit to learn in general, because the curriculum is quite rich and students need to take in a lot of knowledge for better development. So basically, when we have interviews with the students who apply for our school for IGCSE courses, and we see that their level of knowledge is lower than recommended for the IGCSE, it happens quite often. That's why we usually offer these students to have several months of preparation for the IGCSE course, because the starting point in this case really makes difference. And after 2 years of full preparation, students will get better results if they had previous habit of studying in English. They have basics of international curricula before starting IGCSE, and they have, again, all the necessary vocabulary to study in international curricula. Then still, Cambridge curricula is too academic focused, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but we understand that real life challenges also require some approaches that are not implemented in Cambridge, such as project-based learning or case studies or hackathons or some practice-oriented experiential learning, and so on and so forth. Last but not least, local universities sometimes have hard time with Cambridge. So it means that if the student, like taken as an example, one of our students from Nigeria, they want to apply to university in Europe, and Europe has no problems with Cambridge, which is good. But in this particular country, universities do not have strong record of Cambridge exams, for example. And it means that if student decides to apply to local university, it might be better to have local exam results and apply as local student instead of applying with international certificate. So again, there are a lot of things that usually are quite familiar to the one who works in education, like me, or consultants in our school who help our students to decide on the vector, on the subjects to take, on the university they plan to apply to, and so on and so forth. But this information is usually not very accessible or familiar to parents. That's why we usually provide consultations, and we know that each case is individual. So we need to consider all the context of each particular situation. Still, as we can see, each curricula, and we took as an example Cambridge curriculum, has its strength and drawbacks. So the good idea that we usually recommend our students to have is that you can have a plan B, which means that, again, if student is in local school, which sometimes is not Oh, that's a good question regarding the comparison between Cambridge and Excel. I will return to that after a couple of slides. Thanks a lot for the question. But for now, about the plan B, one important thing. So again, we usually recommend our students to have a plan B in their situation. In majority situations, this applies quite well because, again, if student has two sets of certificates, one is local educational certificate of the higher school accomplishment, and the other is international certificate, the student basically has two sets of results, and sometimes local certificates can help to apply to particular universities, and international certificates might have, for example, better results. So better to apply to international universities with the international certificate. And they also can give some additional opportunities, such as, for example, with the A-level certificates that are usually required for the university entrance levels. Let's take again an example. If students took an exam in history, A-level history, and applied to bachelor studies in, again, let's say political sciences, which prepares for political career or governmental institution roles and so on and so forth. So usually in this university, in this program, there is a course on history in bachelor degree that lasts for 1 year on the first year of the program, or year 1, year 2 of the program. So if the student has a level certificate in history and applies with this certificate to the program, there is this credit recognition and acceptance, which allows students to skip the university course on history, because student already has certificate for this subject that shows that they got quite a deep understanding of the subject already. So it means that student again can skip this course, not to go through the same like information knowledge skill set second time, and dedicate more time to the courses that are of their main focus of interest, which is also a good thing to manage time of the student more efficiently and to be more focused on the subjects that are of higher relevance. So again, with Plan B, student can choose the result of the exams that suit best in any particular situation, which opens opportunities for more options. And one more thing, aside from the organizational issues such as having more documents, proofs of knowledge and skills, and so on and so forth, student also, if student has local curricula and then some additional curricula taught in English, this can help to set up new productive habits for studying in English. So again, English program after the school. If student enrolls to international university, most probably English will be their language of studies. Sometimes, of course, it can be also Spanish or German or Chinese. A lot of students now choose Eastern universities too. But still, English remains an international language, which helps students to get the habit of studying in the international language. And this habit will help them struggle less when they actually enroll in the university and when they start their activities as university students already. And last but not least, when we as parents enrich the students' environment with different perspectives and courses, that gives our students wider mind view and wider worldview, I would say. So they start to explore different spheres, industries, and future opportunities. For example, some local curriculums do not have subjects as business studies or subjects as an environmental management or again like media studies and others. So it helps students to have a more mindful choice of future career and future professional pathway that they want to choose after school. And again, some students, even if they have, for example, interest in the subject, let's say geography, but local curriculum teaches the subject one way, and international curricula may show some aspects of the subject that students have not experienced yet. So this also helps to, again, re-explore the subjects and maybe even to love it more after the after the courses, additional courses taken on the subject itself. So regarding the comparison between Cambridge and Edexcel that was asked in the chat, basically, I would say that they are pretty similar in the ways of assessment because they work within the same framework of the exams, which is first level exam, IGCSE. general certificate of education, and then higher level, like A level exams. They both suit quite well to the aim of applying to the university, although I would say that as far as I have noticed, Cambridge is more relevant for European universities and has wider network here, while EdXL is for universities in USA or in universities in Eastern Hemisphere, like Singapore, Korea, and so on and so forth. So this actually, again, depends on the university choice. With any curriculum, student gets really good skills. I would say that, again, EdXL is quite known for their curriculum being more, just a moment, I forgot the word in English, eclectic. Like they choose the information for the curriculum in a manner that can be more direct, like not wider context, but direct subject related things. And one more thing about EdXL, which I personally like, is that some of the subjects allow coursework options, which helps students to master the skills of doing a long-term project, because coursework is quite a big project that learns student how to be disciplined, sustainable, and again, stay motivated, reach their goals, and so on and so forth. So again, regarding the international recognition, they are quite similar. They both suit quite well to the aim of university application. They all have quite wide range of subjects. So both Cambridge and EdXL are, like, if I'm right to remember, EdXL is 40 plus subjects and Cambridge is even 60 plus subjects on A levels, with less subjects on IGCSE level. Cambridge, I would say, is more structured in a way to prepare for the exams, like how to write essays on particular subject, how to write answers to particular questions. Like in Cambridge curricula, tutors usually teach students on the slight differences of definitions that can be asked during the exam, and students need to know these slight differences to answer to the exam correctly. So I would call Cambridge curriculum a little bit more exam focused rather than EdXL, but both are quite good in my opinion, and both suit well to the aim of university application. Again, I would say once more that the reason why we usually cover Cambridge curriculum instead of EdXL in details is because Cambridge is full cycle that starts from 4 years old, while EdXL usually starts in higher grades. And again, it is more, Cambridge has more ecosystematic approach, as I see that. But returning to the plan B, which is again flexibility, and choice of the curriculum might also contribute to the flexibility of the learner, which is a good thing. We, of course, understand that after we have a school, there will be next level, which is basically university. So students get the certificate to apply to the university afterwards. And I don't know how old are your students, of those who participate right now, but if you in direct message write me the age so I could understand if university choice is already a relevant topic for you or not, then I will go in greater details about this topic. But in short, usually, again, students, when they start to look for university, or parents who start to look at the university for their students, they are lost in the amount of options. And what I see as, oh, I see, so 13 years, 16 years. Okay, great. Thanks a lot. So again, I would say that usually for parents, university choice becomes very, very relevant in the last grades, of course. But if some parents start to think about that earlier, it's usually a good thing because it takes more time. It gives more time to consider various options. So what I usually see as a very, I would say, common mistake when I provide consultations for parents and students is that uh, usually they don't know what to look at when choosing the university. So sometimes I get inquiries from my students in Clever School, like, I want to study at Yale. Okay, nice. Why do you want to study at Yale? I ask them. And they say, because it is a famous university. That's it. So they don't see anything behind the name, which, well, name usually is not done from nothing, but it is good to consider more criteria when you look at the university and program pages. And first and foremost, it is networking and social capital for the university. So where the alumni work, who are the partners of the university? If university is integrated into industry, some professors might work in the industry and not only in the university, and so on and so forth. And they also suggest students and parents to look at the support infrastructure within the university, because some universities already have like startup support for student projects. They have laboratories where students can get first-hand experience. They have opportunities for internships, exchanges, apprenticeships, a lot of little things that support students in the way they learn and in the way they will work after their studies. So again, when, for example, our students in Clever start to look for a university, we usually give them a quest to research university program pages and to find answers to particular questions. So they could gather information about the program and its opportunities and its support infrastructure to make a more balanced choice and decide which program they actually would like to apply to. And again, although names are sometimes important, still good skills can be taken from quite many universities. It doesn't mean that if person did not graduate from Yale or Oxford, they will get less opportunities than those who graduated from this university in particular. And regarding the program choices, again, it is a good thing to check to which industry program is related to, see the opportunities of the program, and we also usually give our students a quest to find current students of the program and ask them a couple of questions about the program organization. So it's good to know this information from the first hands too, sometimes. And again, one more thing that I notice when I work with students and parents, many, of course, say we want to work in IT. Many students choose IT as their primary vector for now, which is quite understandable. So a good choice in general. But IT in itself is a little bit shallow. So we usually ask students to think more about which industry IT they want to work can be related to, because maybe they want to go to med tech, medical technology, so be medical IT, or sports IT, or finances, business IT vector, or digital humanities, which also is a very developing vector right now. Or, like, again, opportunities are limitless, but the idea that uh, not all IT is the same and you still need to think about the vector inside it usually helps our students to make more mindful choices regarding the future programs. Last but not least, one thing that I also noticed, a lot of universities sometimes launch new programs, which is a good sign that they want to be, again, flexible to answer the current challenges and so on and so forth. So sometimes new programs are even more like fresher, a little bit more flexible, and can be good choice if we compare it to the well old established program. Both, of course, have their weaknesses and strength, that's for sure. So again, this is where analytical skill comes into play, and students as well as parents, if they help students in the process of university choice, need to apply analytical skills when looking at the programs and their opportunities. But still, sometimes new doesn't mean that this one is untested or something. And it can be rather innovative with more flexibility, which is a better choice in some situations. So this is it. And regarding the program choices, we also have like simple ABC scheme, which we usually help students to unpack how to choose skills to develop. This scheme is based on questions that are related to personality and interests, then dreams and goals, then reality checks that we also ask our students to make from time to time to keep their hand on the pulse of what's going on. So basically, when we onboard students in our school, we also provide this kind of monitoring for them to help them make more informed choice of their future pathway that will be tailored to their, again, personality, to their ideas, beliefs they have and share, to their aspirations, and again, not to be too deep into their own head, that are tailored with the reality, uh, which helps to, again, be more prepared for the future that awaits all of us. And this is why when we developed our programs, we, of course, based it on international curriculum, but also paid a lot of attention to thinking and cognitive skills, to self-management skills, to social skills and teamwork, such as team projects and so on and so forth. And different literacies, like digital literacy and media literacy. So those skills that can be applied to any sphere, which is, again, a good thing to have in mind whenever and wherever a student studies, to pay attention to these components and to see how I can enrich my life with the events that help me develop these skills and these, again, skill sets that we call it. So this is it. I think for now we can stop the recording. And just a moment, stop the